Hello, welcome back to the next in the series on our Kochie's Business Builders YouTube channel. Today we're catching up with the man behind internet giant Kogan.com, Ruslan Kogan, to talk about one of the biggest concerns for bricks and mortar retailers at the moment. Stay tuned to find out what. Later, financing growth in your business as well. But first, news you can use. And new findings show that there is still a huge wealth gender gap in Australia, with career opportunities, earnings power and superannuation balances that are worlds apart. By taking just 5 years out of the workforce, it's expected that a woman's final super balance can be a massive $220,000 worse off. Not only that, a woman educated to postgraduate level is said to earn $700,000 less over her lifetime than her male counterpart. Now, there are a number of reasons for this, including career choices and career progression, as well as many having fewer years in the workforce due to primary carer responsibilities like motherhood. It's a big issue, one that financial ratings agency CanStar suggests should be tackled with women beginning or continuing an educational framework on wealth. Women should take advantage of all the free wealth resources on the internet and increase their financial literacy. For small business women, make sure you seek a personal finance education outside of your normal business knowledge. They are very different areas of your financial lifestyle, so treat them as such. Now, joining me today is one of the pioneers of online retail in Australia, Ruslan Kogan. He's the founder and chief executive of Kogan.com, a manufacturer and online retailer of consumer electronics and one of the fastest growing companies here in Australia. His tremendous success made him the country's richest self-made person under the age of 30 and has earned him numerous awards. I asked him to share his advice on the steps offline retailers can take to keep up with the pace of their online counterparts and his tips on starting a successful online retail business. Now, your advice for the small bricks and mortar retailers out there, what can they do to keep on top of this online phenomenon?
Whether it's a small bricks and mortar setup or an online retailer or a soft drink manufacturer, whatever it is, all business comes down to one thing, and that is, what is your core competitive advantage? Now, for bricks and mortar, that's changed over time. Their core competitive advantage used to be shouting at customers saying, we've got the best prices, biggest range, come check us out. Their core competitive advantage used to be that they were physically located next to their customer base. You had the shop at the top of your street. If they were selling shoes and you wanted shoes, you walked to the shop at the top of your street. All of a sudden, the shop at the top of your street isn't the only place you can buy stuff and isn't the most convenient place for you to buy stuff. You can go do a Google search and find it elsewhere. So these shops have to say, well, our value proposition has changed. Our competitive advantage has eroded. How do we build a new competitive advantage? And so they have to look at that. One of the ways of doing that is service. So simply, they used to sell a product for a price and have people there processing transactions within the store. If you're a bricks and mortar retailer, you're not going to survive through that value proposition. But having experts in place is a way that they can survive. So if they're selling shoes, having actual people who are sports scientists or experts at shoes, helping you choose the right shoe, telling you what's good, what's bad, saving you the time to research it yourself, but giving you that excellent service in store. It's too often these days you walk into a bricks and mortar store and you've got the same guy selling someone a TV, then selling someone a microwave, then selling someone a bed, then selling someone a toaster. And if you ask them a question about any of these products, you see them referring to the box of the product and they just read it off the box. I don't need anyone's help to read something off a box. But if they're an expert at what they do, that would be a significant competitive advantage. There's a tennis store in Melbourne now that has a court out the back. track and tennis professionals there. Any racket you want, you can try and have a hit on the court. The professionals there will have a hit with you. They'll suggest what racket is best for you. They'll correct your stroke. They'll tell you which rackets can help you correct your forehand and things like that. Now, there's a significant competitive advantage. Yes, I know I can go online and buy a racket for half the price, but I still walk into that store and buy all my tennis gear from that store because there's a significant value add that other businesses can't provide. So bottom line is, no matter what sort of business you are, you have to say, what is our competitive advantage? What are we doing better than anyone else?
All right, give us your top tips for successfully starting an online business.
One of the biggest advantages in online is the ability to build a community by talking closer to your customers and being closer to your customers and having two-way communication. So engage with your customers and find out exactly what they want, because it's never been easier to talk to your customers. Internally, one thing an online retailer should always be doing is analysing the facts rather than the emotions of a situation. So look at the statistics on your website. What pages are people looking at? What aren't they looking at? What's converting? What's not converting? What's causing people to stay? What's causing people to leave? By looking at all of this data and all of this information, you're able to know what on your site's working and what's not working. Take away the stuff that's not working and optimize the stuff that's working, and introduce more of the stuff that's working. And that's one of the biggest advantages of online retail. And if you're going to get into the online retail space, you really need to be doing that on a day-to-day basis. Ensure that you understand what your customers want and that you're constantly optimizing the way in which you give your customer exactly what they want.
Ruslan, good to catch up again. Thanks for your time. Trevor and Nicole Drake own Solid Racks, a business that builds surfboard storage racks as well as storage for other watercraft. Their business has been going great guns, but that success has brought with it some growth problems. They need some advice on the options available to them for financing that growth and when to consider potential investors. So I organised for them to meet with business growth expert Anthony Mitchell from Ben Delta.
You've got this great top-end position. I think you really have 2 years to cement that so that you become almost unassailable. Now, getting there is going to mean expansion at two ends, at the front end and at the back end. So at the front end, you need to be building up more demand. You need to have more distribution available to you. At the back end, clearly you need to build capacity to actually generate that amount of stock. Now, for both of these things, of course, you need cash. There's really two options to think about, and these can go together. One is debt, which you're pursuing with the bank. Now, the other option, which you may not have considered, is equity. Depending on your own cash situation, it may be worthwhile to think about an investor who can come into the business and make sure that you're in a very strong, solid, if I might use that word, cash position over the next 2 years, so that you can go forward and really expand the business without any trepidation about running out of funds.
We've had that discussion. We're both smiling. And we've actually, we've already been approached by a number of people to invest in Solid. And selfishly, whatever you want to call it, we haven't come this far and done this much ourselves to now have someone else come in and have a share or have a say in what we're about to do.
I can certainly hear where you're coming from, Nikki. It's when you've put so much passion into a business, clearly you want to make it all your own. However, I wouldn't want you to rule out the possibility. It is worth thinking about. Let me put to you just for a moment the possibility that your business, the Solid Rack side, might grow 50-fold in the next 2 years. Well, that's not a path that you two have ever been down before, and it may be useful to get the involvement of someone who has. And what an equity partner could potentially assist you with is continuing to build that balance sheet worth. So yes, you may not have 100% of the pie, but it might be a much larger pie that you're sharing.
All right, now to tackle one of your questions that you've sent through the website. Michael sends this one from Victoria. I'm a HR consultant and I've got a proven concept but without deep pockets for advertising. I'm struggling to get it out there. What can I do? Michael, there are so many free ways to get your message out in different concepts. First of all, start with your own networks. Start promoting it through your Facebook page, through your own social media, through Twitter. Also, if it's to do with HR, look at maybe getting on HR websites, also HR networking organisations, and really start targeting it carefully. Also, what a lot of friends of mine have done is tried Google AdWords, where you put it up for a small amount of money, you pay for the click-throughs, and it's very closely targeted to the people who are interested in that area. So a lot to do. Local newspapers, putting a story out with a new local newspaper or a community radio program can often help, because they need content, and content that's provided, as long as it's good content, by somebody outside, they'll give it a run. So just think outside the square a little bit so you can build up sales and then maybe advertise in more conventional areas. So hopefully that helps. Well, hope you enjoyed today's episode on the Kochie's Business Builders YouTube channel. We'll see you next week.